Hello, and welcome to Showing Up with Pam. It's an exciting day for me. I have some of my Harada taught students. I'm going to go ahead and bring them in the studio now, and I am going to allow them to introduce themselves to you. First of all, we'll go kind of to my right. We'll go Andre, then Susan, then Sergio, if that's okay. So, Andre, would you mind introducing yourself to the crowd?
Hi, so I'm Andre. I'm in Toronto, Canada. Um, I work in process improvement, and I like to think myself as somebody who's coaching people on all things or some things lean and agile.
Excellent. Susan?
Hi, I'm Susan Jones. I am a recovering project manager, now a Scrum Master, and I'm coming in from Plano, Texas.
Oh, Nigel's going to love that one. Sergio.
Hello, my name is Sergio Rodriguez, and I am an operations consultant. I work for Toyota Connected. I also have other side projects, and I'm passionate about nature.
All right. Excellent. I want to thank you guys. I know that's been a long week. We were just talking about it and how we're just kind of hanging on to the holiday. But thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining us. I'm really excited. So, these were students of mine where I taught them the Harada method. And the Harada method is a framework where you actually set a goal and then you set yourselves up with tasks and routines to achieve the goal. And you also set up at least one coach to help kind of pull you along and encourage you. And so this was kind of a life-changing lesson for me when I went through it. And that's why I decided to become a trainer. But I am curious to hear from you guys kind of what your mindset was going into the class. So kind of where were you? We'll go to you, Andre, to let us know.
I start again. Okay. So it's funny because for me, I knew about it. So kind of went and did my research before I actually took the class. But for some reason, I don't know why it didn't come together. So I was missing that part. Okay, so how do you really apply it to your life? And probably because I've always looked into different ways of making yourself more productive, being easy to achieve goals, and so on. So going through different methods, techniques, and whatever, it was like bits and pieces that kind of different. They were all good by themselves, but how can you make it better? How can you actually make this puzzle complete? And for me, that's what it did in the end.
Okay, so going in, you had a little bit of knowledge, but you just kind of wanted to see, okay, how is all this going to fit together?
Yeah, and I heard that it was useful for a lot of people to go through it. It's let's say I was lazy enough to go for somebody that knows it in and out and take the training and hope to get it better by, I don't know, in a different way of osmosis.
Okay, excellent. How about you, Susan?
You know, it's interesting because I thought it was going to be a lot more of taking what I knew from IT and Agile and applying it to my life. I didn't realize how much self-inspection there was going to be. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I like all this self-inspection. And then when you get to the part where you're realizing the things that you're good at, it was actually very encouraging.
Excellent. All right, Sergio, what about you?
Mine was kind of a perfect storm thing. I'm always looking for things to better myself. And I had heard about this. You and I had had interactions at work when we worked together, and I had just, I wanted to follow some things that other people were getting into and kind of discover some things. And then so I did a little bit of research. And when I did that research, I was like, oh, okay, this will be cool to apply to work, because I thought it was going to be more to work. And I started to get some second thoughts when you said I had to write, what was it, like 50 things, or I can't remember, 30 things. It felt like 100 things, but I had to write so many positive things about myself. And it wasn't until about 5 minutes before walking in where I was like, I think I had this wrong. But it was a great experience. I didn't know fully what I was getting into, but I learned quickly.
Excellent. Okay, so now we've sort of got a picture of the kind of knowledge you had coming in. So now you're in the class, we're getting through day one. I kind of give my story about where I was before and after, and how I realized I had kind of minimized a lot of my talents and skills out of my life. And I was still, a fairly happy, comfortable person, but there was this whole part of my life that was hidden. And I realized that I had to get deeper to figure out why I was hiding it. And then it was kind of devastating to realize I had done that. So I decided I'm not doing that anymore. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm actually doing this show, because I realized there's things I can do and I need to just go do them and not talk myself out of it. So while you were in class and you started to get a better understanding of things, Andre, what was going through your head?
So there were several things. First of all, to see that basically there were a lot of people like me, so I was not alone. Then there were some light bulbs that started to pop on.
Okay.
I mean, probably the first thing that you brought up was the difference between sharing accomplishments versus bragging.
Right.
So okay, that's something to think about, because we all have things that we've done in our lives, but we took them either for granted, or we thought that, if I'm talking about this, people are going to think of it differently. So it was like a domino effect. I don't know if a lot of the things felt in place during the classes, after, when you start to percolate and think of all those things that were discussed. And again, it's also making friends through the struggle.
All friends here, right?
Yes. Yes.
What about you, Susan?
You're going to be surprised at this, but
okay.
I still have, this is the How Self-Reliant Are You 33 questions. I pulled all my paperwork out right before this. And I realized that I was pretty self-reliant in being able to, reach my own goals, but there were still some things that I needed to work on. So that was awesome. And then, recognizing the things that have held me back in the past from reaching my goals and how to overcome those. So those were really important things to think about and to write down.
All right, Sergio, let us have it.
Well, so for me, a couple of things were happening. First, right from the beginning, I was thinking, man, this is bigger than I thought. Maybe I didn't choose the right goal. And, from the very beginning, because I thought, as we were self-reflecting, I started realizing these little things apply to a lot of things that I'm doing in my life. And I would have always been talented at certain things, but always afraid to do anything with it. I just had this fear. I always felt like somebody was going to think, oh, like find out one day it's Sergio, he's actually a fake. And I, or something like, I had this fear with me. And so in that self-reflection, I started to have these doubts. But as we continued and talked through other people feeling the same way, I was able to differentiate it from a failure of my own to something that we all had in common, which made it a little more conceivable for me. It brought it into a different perspective. I also started realizing that a lot of the things and goals that I'd be shooting for, I'd actually previously done for other stuff, but the only difference was I had a coach telling me to do it. And when you get out of sports or anything else that involves a coach, you never think, oh wait, that's when all that guidance stopped. Yep. But it really hit me, man. A lot of things in my life changed when I no longer had somebody, pushing me behind me to support me.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now you've got these realizations. I'm getting ready to put on headphones because I hear some outside noise. So pay no attention to me. The next question, though. So now you've gone through the class. And I guess I want to understand how you felt afterwards. And then maybe since the time has progressed since then, kind of where you are with your thoughts about it. And maybe what are some of the biggest takeaways you have now? Andre, would you like to get us started?
Sure. So first of all, when we actually had to pick a goal and start to put things into place. Mm-hmm. And one of the other differentiating things about Harada was that the Harada method is the fact that you don't concentrate only on what you want to achieve. You have to bring in the other areas of your life that
Mm-hmm.
matter to you. So you don't forget about those. It's more, if you want, how to call it, a balanced approach to your goals.
Right.
So it was putting a plan together, uh, trying to track it, getting the bodies, the accountability bodies or coaches, whatever you want to call them,
Right.
on board with you, because that's the other important thing that it brings along, which is have accountability bodies and make sure you check in with them often and actually put in place a cadence to do it. What it meant in time or over time, uh, probably when I set up a goal, a specific goal, that's when I go deeper into the Harada method. However, when I go with smaller goals, I like to keep track of all the activities that I have to go through, either through the day, through the week, through the month, and depending on how I approach it. It gives you a better perspective and a better way to organize yourself for whatever you're trying to do. In a nutshell.
Well said. What about you, Susan?
What's interesting is when I went through it, I was so enthusiastic about it. I think I went through it in September, maybe, or October. And in January, I actually had the opportunity, or it may have even been February, I had the opportunity to present this information to some ladies that I know at church, and they were just blown away by it. So, and I was like, hey, don't judge my success at reaching my goals by how this method is, because my goals were kind of personal and I made it a little bit too hard on myself too, to be honest. And so I learned that, and I am really excited about this podcast today because I still have all my materials and my copies of my routines and events and all that. And so I'm going to, create a new goal and write down all of the ways that I'm going to achieve that goal. So I had that behind me. So now I feel, and by the way, too, I did create, what did you call it? A wall of love or something, but in my office at home, what did you call it? Like
Fame.
the wall of fame. I have a wall of fame.
Excellent.
It's shelves, but it has a lot of things in it, like from when I used to run in races, and I had a very low body fat and was fast and everything. So those are my takeaways.
So you look at the Wall of Fame and you feel proud, right?
I do, but it also has some little pop vinyl figures on it that my daughter gave me, so I can kind of laugh at that too.
Oh. What about you, Sergio?
So I think it's important for me to say that my goal, I got to about 80% of accomplishing it and then changed completely.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't what ended up happening is my goal was to start a podcast. But as I started working with my friends and the people who were going to go into this with me,
Mm-hmm.
it turned into something bigger, and it turned into, wait, there's more to this. And it ended up leading to a website that we have going right now that's in the works. And what I took away from that was that I kind of still need that coach, and what I've done is I've allowed myself to be that coach, and I use my little piece of paper that keeps me organized. And it's not the same. I just use I'll document moving forward, like what my planned tasks are, which is something I'd gotten completely away from. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why. It's almost if I didn't give myself permission to take it serious enough. Like I would talk myself out of, I'd be like, come on, that's not gonna work. And there's no need to start going for it. But what I got from Harada is stop thinking that. Stop being your own worst critic. Just give it a shot. If you're passionate about it, try to think it a little bit like you do other things. And like at work, give it your best shot, and most of the time it'll turn out pretty good. And so I've done that, and since then, not only did that website happen, I started a mushroom farm, so I'm farming gourmet mushrooms and things like that.
We're just
And when I met these people, like that fear that you took away from me, and that class that this program took away from me, when I heard of a local mushroom company on Indie Magazine, I immediately finished the article and called the guy. And now he's a mentor of mine, and we work together, and he's been helping me out, and he allows me to kind of learn from him. It's been great.
That is great. You just made me think of another question I want to ask you guys. If you'll remember, one of the things I stressed was you had to pick the right coach. And if you pick someone like a spouse or a loved one who kind of knows you, they will let you off the hook. They will say, you know what, it's been a hard week. Like now, we're in COVID, so honey, why don't you just, let's not worry about getting that done, right? We're going to go around the room, and you're going to tell me if you listened to me and picked the right coach, or if you agree how critical that is, and maybe if you decide to do more goals, you might change who that coach is. We're going to go the other way around. We're going right back to you, Sergio.
All right. I did pick the right coach. But at the same time, I will say that there is truth to what you say. When your significant other is your coach, those lazy days, they get that side of what you went through that day. And it's almost to a fault. They care so much about you that they're going to say, hey, it's okay. But at the same token, when they start seeing you gain momentum, that's when that accountability comes in. What was really cool is with this mushroom project, that as it started growing and developing, I started using what I learned from Harada and started communicating these goals, not only with my significant other, but my kids, and saying, hey, buy this thing. And they kind of became my coach because, there's processes that are very like, hey, you can't get close to that. You can't do anything like that. And they started, teaching, keeping me in line, saying, hey, in 2 days, we're going to have mushrooms. So it's been really cool. That I just wanted to let people know that it is if you have a good, strong person, if you communicate with them really why you're doing this. And the why for me was because I feel like I've been holding myself back, and this kind of popped the lid off the top. And so if they know that, if you tell them the right why, I think you'll have no trouble finding support.
Excellent. All right, Susan, how'd you do on the coaching aspect?
Well, you're one of my coaches. I will say you
can't
are.
criticize me.
I'm not criticizing you. Some of the coaches I picked were not, they didn't know enough about it, so it wasn't really a good coach. And also, I thought about having my husband for one of the coaches, but that could lead to like some therapy sessions or something, because it might be like, hey, did you do this today, Susan? And I would be like, you don't know me.
I love that. So, are you talking to me?
Yeah. So I think I probably, with this next goal, I'll probably go ahead and I'll reach out to you, and then I think I'll get a few different coaches too.
I'm telling you, the more the merrier. Like I said, I had like 6 or 7.
Yep.
And it was probably overkill, but gosh, it really helped me. All right, Andre, what about you?
For me, it was the same. I was trying to get more than one, and people that I know, and I know that they are going to be tough on me. It's only the only way I feel like I'll go forward, and not pull a bad day or whatever. And I think it worked. And probably if I'm going to need it again, I'll go the same route, trying to find somebody that has some expertise in what I want to do, and hold me accountable, because we are all pro, and by that I mean procrastinators from time to time.
You are not lying. That is true. So first of all, I'm grateful to you guys to be here. But you should know that one of the things I want to do is offer another class, because I've had people ping me on LinkedIn and, hey, I've been talking about my next class for a long time, so I actually need to do it now. And even given the situation here, we've had to become experts at working remotely, and people who teach classes now have to become expert at teaching remotely and having materials and stuff. So I wanted to pick your brain a little bit. So what I was thinking of doing is maybe having 6 one-hour sessions. So I would first, ask people to sign up. And then once I get a list of who's coming, I would give them their initial homework. And then I would schedule 1 hour, Saturday at 2 o'clock, something like that. And then we would go over the homework. I would give them some background about the Harada method and what we're doing, and then give them some more homework. So they would have the week, and then they would come back the next weekend for an hour, and we would share our homework. And I would sort of break it up into little modules that way, because I think as bite-sized pieces, it's probably a little bit easier to take in all the information and really take the time to go through, you know, the way you have to rank yourself and organize the information and so forth. So I kind of want to get your feedback, since you guys were in the, you know, day and a half session, if you have any suggestions or if you actually think that model might work. Who wants to go?
I'll go. I think that would be a good idea to do it that way. And yeah, I'm wondering how many different things that you could do interactive on, you know, online to allow people to share their information other than just talking.
Right.
So yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
So I would probably have to have almost like a Zoom call or something like this, where you could actually show, you could take a picture and show your forms, or you would do it online and then share. I did remember that at least one person gave feedback in the class that they felt that we overshared, a little too much sharing. So,
I remember that.
do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
A little too much personal sharing? Is that what they thought?
You know how every time we did something, I went around the room and had everybody talk.
Oh, right.
And so I think they felt, okay, let's tap the brakes on all the sharing. Can we pick a couple people at this table, a couple people at that table? So I'm curious, I guess when we're doing it remotely, it might be hard to not have everybody share, because then you're not necessarily getting that everybody understands it. Do you have an opinion about that?
I think that there are some tools that might be able to help you with that. I know a lot of the new meeting things have the hand raising, which kind of helps. What I would recommend, though, what we're having to learn from this, from the new environment in my role, what we're having to learn is it also helps if you have a producer with you. So if you have somebody else that can that knows what you're going to be facilitating, you work together before, and what they can do is do things like, I'll run the chat on the side, you can ask all your questions right here, you just I'll select who all is going to present at that moment. If you have somebody like that and y'all have communicated it and practice it, it's really helpful.
That is a great idea. And you know, I'll be hitting you guys up to see who wants to be my facilitator. Other suggestions? Andre, what do you think?
So I think it's crucial, because we at my work we also do training remotely, and definitely somebody to help facilitating the whole technical process. It's crucial. You need to have a person to help you with it, depending the audience. I mean, if you have 5 people, I don't think you need it. But if it's more than that, it becomes tricky, because you have to also monitor what goes into the chat and so on. Thinking of the Harada method, probably a good model would be a challenge type of approach. So do you want to set up a goal and then take people through the steps of how to do it, and giving them the homework to do it, and then use the sessions to discuss the homework and how it went. So going into okay, here's a 15-minute introduction of what you have to do, and then this is the gist of it. These are the forms you're using. Take them, fill them up. This is how you would fill them up. And then it's also good if you have a forum where people can post if they have questions, or I don't know, I'm trying to figure out either a Slack channel or a Facebook group, private group, and then go through that. And you can have both worlds, where people do their homework, do their work, and then they have an opportunity to ask about these things.
Okay, I'll be tapping you guys as I work on the curriculum. Okay.
I think Sergio has a perfect voice to be a moderator. That's all I'm going to say.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Set on and everything.
Y'all are too nice. I will say, though, I think Andre is right. I think if you have a chat type, something that's capable, some of these free chat things may not be able to always support it, but I think if you have a good chat program that everybody's had some time to play around with, I think you'd be fine with that.
Okay. All right. This is great words of wisdom, you guys. Thank you. I am at the end of my questions. Did you guys have any questions for each other or for me? I will yield you the floor.
I don't think so. I'm grateful for it, for the training and for this call, even like I said, because I want to get some more goals going, and there's perfect opportunity, 3-day weekend.
There you go.
Get all the sheets out, fill them out, get it done.
Awesome. What do you guys think?
I'm always trying to get more involved. So if you need any help with anything, let me know, and maybe we can work together. I'm familiar with a lot of different, let's say, remote programs. So just let me know if I can help in any way.
Excellent. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, Andre, you got to volunteer some help too here, Mr.
Yeah. Same here. I was going to say, if you need help, definitely I'm up for it. And at the end, probably what I would say, it's we are here because of you. I mean, it's because of the training you did, and the fact that you took the time and you had the patience to actually listen to all our questions and challenges, and keeping us together, because in a way that's how we remain in contact.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I will definitely be reaching out to you as the new session gets going. And again, thank you so much. And feel free, if there's anything I can ever do to help you guys, please let me know.
Thank you for your time,
Thank
Pam.
you. Yes, thank you so much.
Nice
All
to
right,
see
guys.
everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.